Mineral Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe has hit out at environmental activists again, this time over the declaration of funding. He says foreign-funded NGOs are being used to weaponize or use as weapons to block advances in developing nations. He's called for NGOs, particularly those opposing fossil fuel development in the country, to declare their sources of funding. Liziwe McDaid from the Green Connection says they are not opposed to sharing financial information, but Mantashe's accusations are a distraction from the main issue of holding government accountable. Joins us now live just to get some more reaction on this issue. Good afternoon, Liziwe. Just tell us, are you being weaponized against development in this country?
You know, as most NGOs, we are totally supporting development. But what our concern is that we have a constitution, we have a rule of law, and that all our developments follow due process. That seems to be the problem in this case, because instead of welcoming NGOs, the minister seems to be opposed to this. In fact, ourselves, together with SAFSI, had to go to court to force the minister and the president to start enacting a piece of legislation that would make us do proper energy planning. Now, this has been on the books since 2008, but never been implemented. And it seems to me that where we're sitting right now, we need an energy plan. So we would hope that the minister should be reaching out to thank us and actually to bring NGOs together to start working on the real issues of this country. Most NGOs do declare their funding. There's no issue around being transparent. But of course, as a political leader, it's also important for civil society to know where who's funding our political parties. So it seems to me quite strange that NGOs are being attacked for their funding sources rather than using this as an opportunity to reach out and work together.
Yeah, but what I heard, the minister wants NGOs like political parties. You know, there's the Political Party Funding Act in place under which they are supposed to declare. He wants a similar law for NGOs. How do you respond to that?
Well, we are already registered. We do declare our funding, and there's no problem with being transparent. But what is he really wanting? Because, you know, civil society, if you're a small community organization, are you now supposed to go through a whole admin loophole before you take to the streets to say, we've had enough of a lack of service delivery? No, you should be open to be able to do that. And if you're an NGO receiving funding, of course you must be accountable, and we are already. So yes, we think NGOs should be accountable. We think we are. But yes, Mr. Minister, you also, the importance of your declaration of funding is so that we can see who is funding the political parties which are taking policy decisions that we believe are not necessarily in the interests of the country. And it's our right to stand up and voice our opinions.
But political parties are obliged now by law to say who they are funding, so they have to.
Yes.
They have no choice.
Which is great, which is really great, because we can see now that companies like Shell are funding the ANC. Is this driving their policies?
Okay. It looks like an issue here as well, from his perspective, is that South Africa is endowed with these natural resources. We are faced with an energy crisis. NGOs like the Green Connection and others in the environmental space, according to him, are not allowing the country to benefit from this endowment. How do you respond to that statement?
I say that the minister must go and do his real job, which is energy security for the country, which means we need an integrated energy plan where all of this evidence can come together, and then let us decide as a country whether we do use the oil and gas, and which could potentially undermine coastal livelihoods, or whether there are other resources that we should be prioritizing.
Yeah. So you now, what are you going to do next besides putting pressure on him to come up with this energy resource plan that you've just mentioned?
Well, we focus on good governance and ensuring that people can actually have a say over matters that affect them. So for these projects that are on the table, we will encourage communities to go and voice out their opinion, see what they want. And then, yes, we will continue to put pressure on government to do the right thing in terms of energy planning so that we can all, as a country, decide what our energy future looks like.
You're not going to be distracted from your civil society campaign to make sure that our environment is protected while we do resolve our energy crisis?
We need to do both. We need to think of the future and the current generations. We do have a climate crisis, which many of us are suffering from. Those who were affected by the floods in KZN, the floods in the Western Cape recently, and droughts in other parts. So we're living our climate crisis. So let's make wise decisions where everyone gets an opportunity to say what they would like.
Thank you very much, Liziwe McDaid from the Green Connection.